Good morning, everybody, and welcome to Chassidus in the Morning. 15 minutes to change our lives. Parshas Behaaloscha, up to Ois Gimel. Basically, we're saying, yesterday we were talking about lighting the menora, and all the Eden of menora, and everyone has their branch, everyone has their derech, and their way of expressing themselves and bringing at Gilui Elikus and Divrei Tachtenim, and helping ultimately bring Mashiach. She said, so then we started to talk about Aaron. What was Aaron's job? It's to light up the menora, light up the Ner Havaydish Adam within us, our own light. And not just that, he did it to the extent that Shalhevis, this is sort of the goal, Shalhevis Olim Aleh, that the flame is independent. Meaning, as long as he lights, it's like, reminds me, last year we had a Shabbaton by Shalom Melech Rabashkin. With Hashem, we're having one again this week. So I remember last year we went to light the fire, and we didn't realize like how to do it and what there was. So we were trying to light it. Another guy and I were trying to light it, and we tried little twigs and a bigger twig, and we couldn't manage to get it go. It wasn't many twigs. It was wet. It was raining the whole time, so it wasn't working. Shalom Mordechai comes out and he takes some big logs, which don't light by themselves. It takes a lot of time and effort by someone. He takes a few cardboard boxes, lights them up, put the wood on top, put it on the bottom. Fire goes huge and lights everything. And then the fire was lit by itself. It was a Shalhevis Olam Aleh. And so too with Aaron. Aaron's job wasn't just to light us up, so we have some light for a little bit, and then sitting there, keep on constantly lighting us. Aaron, his job was that take someone and light them up to their own light. They have their own existing light. Yeah. Now up to Gimel. And obviously it means in simple terms, it means, and there's so many ways you could think about it, but it means that we're independent, and the job of the Rebbe and Chabad Chassidus is to make you independently free. You can go wherever you need to go and transform that place. You're not dependent on the Rebbe every single moment to keep you inspired. You can inspire yourself. You can work on yourself. You know, when Chassidim left, when the Rebbe and when the Frierdiker Rebbe left Russia, and then the Rebbe's father passed away, there was a big void. The Chassidim didn't have a Rebbe, and you know the whole Chassidus from the beginning always had a Rebbe, and it's now there's a Chassidim in Russia. They're stuck behind the Iron Curtain. They have no Rebbe. You know, like in a real sense, they didn't see the Rebbe and things like this, and they didn't have Sfarim even. It was like everything was such a hassle, and there was like 50 years the Chassidim lived without a Rebbe, and they survived. Because that's what Chassidus is all about, and it made him that the Rebbe gave the Chassidim the ability that it should be their own. They can be their own shining light. Gimel halak as menora beveis hamikdash yesh nashlesh dinim. Now we're going to discuss what does it mean to light the menora in this mikdash, and then Mitzvah Hashem tomorrow we'll discuss what does that mean in terms of avodah for ourselves. So the lighting of menora, there's three conditions. You have one hadlakas ksher bizarre. Doesn't have to be a kohen that lights the menora. Interestingly enough, anyone gamish ain't a kohen kasha hadlakas the menora. Even if you're not a kohen, you're kosher to light the menora. But hatavas haneres hachanas haneres tzarich liyos davka the kohen. But the preparation of the menora, preparing it to be used, that has to be through a kohen. Interestingly, that the one that lights it doesn't need to be a kohen, but the one that prepares it has to be a kohen. And Gimel, Malkam Amidas Menora, where do you put the menora is who davka behechel beis hamikdash. The menora has to be in the hechel in the beis hamikdash. So move on Eifa Shegam Hadlakas Menora Haruchnis. Therefore, what is teaching us? Even the spiritual menora, Kalema, Haaras, Haneshama. You saw what's the menora? The ray or the spark of the Jewish, the Pintliyah, the Jewish soul. In order to light up the soul of a Yid, we have these three conditions. The three conditions that anyone can light it, but it has to be prepared through Aaron, through the Kohen, and it has to be lit in the mikdash, in the heichel. So how does this all work? Let's see. Halachas kasher bizarre, lighting it is kosher even with a non-kohen. Avodas ashbas ala zulas, meaning having, in order to have an effect on someone else. And spreading the wall springs, chassidus outward. This is teaching us it's not just for specific type of people. Me teach, me give a shir, me say a vart. I'm a simple person. I'm just simple balchuva. I don't know anything. I didn't learn anything. I'm barely know Aleph base. I'm going to start teaching. So what are we learning from the menora? To light the menora could be for anyone. This is the merit and obligation of every single Yid. Like it says in the Mishnah, the Mishnah is for every single Yid. What does it say in the Mishnah? Be like the students of Aaron. This is a lesson for all of us. I'll call Echad Misrael laleches beikveis Aaron HaKohen. We all should go in the footsteps of Aaron. The Karva B'Rei Torah. And what does Aaron do in that Mishnah? He brought people closer to Torah. So we have an obligation being taught from the Mishnah, which means for everyone, to light someone else's menora. And again, this is such a powerful part that we come look at ourselves, and society today, unfortunately, focuses very much on the self. And then it's all about ourselves and the self, taking care of myself. I don't have time for someone else. I'll take care of myself and things like this. And what we're saying here is we have to realize, and this is sort of the cure for that issue, is we have to see to ourselves that we have a job to do. We have to help. To light up someone's, how can I light someone up? And that means very simple. You go to any situation, you come to a l'chaim, you come to a wedding, you come to a room, come to a party, whatever it is, you come to a situation, you look and you say, how can I light someone's menora? How can I help someone? You come to Sheva Brachos and someone looks a little quiet. So you come and you talk to them. You transform the way you look at the world and the way you look at yourself. Unfortunately, especially if we have a low self-esteem, so we look at ourselves too much and we're constantly analyzing ourselves. Am I good enough? What should I say? What should I not say? And we get caught up with ourselves, and it's unfortunate. So the cure to that is not to think about ourselves so much, and try to quieten that voice and think about other people and say, hey, how can I make someone else happy? How can I help someone else? How can I be of use? You come to a place. Some people come and sit down and they say get on their phones, or they come and they're like, oh, I'll come back when everything's ready. But what we're saying here, we have to be the ones that light them there. And you come in and you say, hey, how can I help? How can I make your life a little easier? What can be done over here? You want to learn? Come, let's learn something. And that's what we're saying here. And that's everyone can do. It's not just the Chiddush. Yeah. And that's the first lesson that we learn from the fact that the lighting can be everyone else. But what's interesting is we said only the preparation for it has to be through the Kohen Aaron. Preparing the menora. If Shar is rak aydei Kohen, only be through a Kohen. What does that mean? You can think to yourself, being that the main point is to affect someone else. What's the difference? Which way? What's the difference? Which way I'm going to do it? The main thing is I'm going to have an effect on someone. I'm going to explain to them an idea in Torah. Well, if you have a nasi, according to what I understand, what I think is good for him to understand. I'm going to teach you something that even that's good for me and good for him. And therefore also have an effect on him. Meaning it's like an example. I heard once someone said, I think someone came to the Rebbe and never came and moved to tefillin. And he had the whole idea of the tefillin campaign, gave every male over 13 to put on tefillin and go to the streets and get people. It was a wild, wild idea. So someone was like, I think maybe you should do mitzvah tzitzis. get people to put on tzitzis. So that's what he's saying. The preparation of the menora, it's through the kohen. If you're not a kohen, you can't prepare. Meaning you have ideas. I think we should do a mitzvah, this, whatever it is. We have to follow what the Rebbeim told us. What the kohen tells us to do, that's what you do. You want to know what to do, that's what you're doing. Someone once asked that Chabad, a lot of times someone complained once, I heard this thing, someone complained about Lubavitch, about Chabad, that person they teach people is Tanya. It's not necessarily true, but it's for sure it happens, and for sure it's a good idea. So he complains, you teach him first Chumash, and then you can teach him other things. Chumash is the foundation. So one of the answers that are given is that when you teach him Tanya, you also teach him Chumash. Why? Because when you teach him Tanya, you teach him everything. You give him the source of everything, and then he's like, I got to learn Chumash. Chumash, and if you think about it, when you teach someone Chumash, it's not an easy sefer to learn. Maybe it's easy to technically understand, but to understand this is the foundation of everything. It's not simple. Whereas Tanya teaches you there's a lakus, there's an Eibishter, there's a dir b'tachtenim, there's a neshama, what's going on inside of you, and all these things. And with that, you understand what's going on, and then you realize, hey, this is the Torah. I need to go learn this Torah. And you understand that Torah is a holy thing. But the point we're saying here is that in the preparation of the menora, what to do, how to affect the yid, we can do the lighting, we can go and be the foot soldiers, but who prepares it? It's the Rebbe, it's the Aaron, it's the Kohen. We could think to ourselves, yeah, and that's what he's saying. And that's why the lesson comes from the menora. Putting in the oil and the wick, the substance what's going to make it be able to light, it's only through kohen. To put in the stuff that needs is only through the kohen. Not everyone can come and put in the oil and the wick. It's only the kohen. And this is a very important lesson that why people complain a lot. Also, the complaints have been about. We talked about, I think, last week or 2 weeks ago. Maybe it was different. Anyway, we're talking about how people complain that the Rebbe comes with his mitzvahs and he doesn't speak to the Jewish world, all the other gedolim of the world. So the answer is this: you have to be Aaron HaKohen. I'm not saying they're not kohanim, but they're not on the same level. And it's only through a kohen is the one that makes it possible that you can light these things. And that's what we're saying. Kohen hu she'ein lo chelek nachlo atzmo. What's a kohen? Kohen has no self-interest, no inheritance for himself. Ella Hashem hu nachlo asay. Hashem is his inheritance. Gefish Rambam kasu, like Rambam writes, talking about inheritance in Eretz Yisrael. Kohen didn't have the land was divided, but the kohen didn't have any inheritance in lands. Why? Because it says over there, because Hashem is his inheritance. Like it says in the Rambam, Hashem Nadava Ruchai Hulu Lahavdil, that he was decided that he's going to separate them. Misha moved out. Bechumius, only someone that's separated from physicality, Bechol Mahusai, he Lidabik, Ba'Hashem, Lavadasai, only someone that is totally given over and wants to cleave to Hashem and to do Hashem's Avodah, Bekechai Lativ. Lativ al-hachin hadrachim, naras and neres and neshama. Only such a person that's not there's no self-interest, no ulterior motive to be able to prepare the way of how to go. Rak la'acha she'akoyen meichin Hashem and apsilo. Yeah. Chol Mahusa he davar Hashem abaydasav v'koichay lahativ l'hachin hadrachim ha'aras neres and neshama. Only someone that's totally given over, totally batul, he's able. That type of person is able to prepare the neshama, prepare the candle. Rak la'acha she'akoyen meichin Hashem and apsilo mitaf kidei. It's only after he prepared the wick and the oil, now we can come and do our job and finish it off. Spread out these wall springs outwards. That's what we're saying. That it's our job not to think how to do it, is to take whatever was made, was prepared, and go. And that's what we're saying here. Just to finish off the Gimel. And the first condition we said was that anyone can light it, which means we're all mechuyev, we're all obligated into helping out the Yid and trying to see how we can help. But the second point is the preparation for it is through Aaron, it's through the Kohen. So we got to learn Chassidus, we got to understand what the Rebbe wants from us and how he wants us to express these ideas. And like we said, like for a simple example, is we don't diminish the Torah, we don't make caravan Torah, bring them close to the Torah, not the Torah close to them. Learning all these things and learning how to live a life according to Chassidus to be able to be that shining light and to spread it out. Well, that's what we're saying. And the third condition we said has to be in the Mikdash. What does that mean? Menora hu behechel dafka. As a kedusha, it's in the hechel, and there's 10 levels of kedusha. The majegas of kedusha and 10 levels of kedusha. Kacha kedashim, hechel. There's the kodesh kedashim. There's the hechel, and then there's different levels in Yerushalayim and Eretz Yisrael, and then different levels of holiness. The gam hadagas shalamata mehechel, even levels that are lower than the hechel, kedusha, and they're also holy, but b'chol nevertheless, Allah is a menora be'echad mekeimes halalu shekedusha is lamata b'kedusha hechel. If you light the menora in a place that's not in a holy place, even not as holy as the Heichel, meaning you bring the menorah into a lower holiness place. It is still in a holy place, but it's not. You're not Yetzer lighting it. What does that mean? B'chol says as long as a menorah echad mekayim zalol kedushas lamatim mikedushas ha'Heichel lo yaseh chayva l'chol davar noyed sader pu'ula mishalei. Every place has its thing. The tafkid shal menora hu la'ir behechel. And the purpose of the menorah is to light in the hechel. As we're going to explain tomorrow what that means, and finish off this Hira in Aveda. Hopefully we'll be able to finish Ois Daled. Have an amazing day.